Are we ready? Yeah. All right. Hello, guys. Welcome to your English class, English with Mike, lesson number 10. I hope you're fine today. And we're going to see in this lesson number 10, we're going to learn how to give advice and strong advice. Also, you will learn how to ask for advice, how to ask for suggestions. Okay. So these are the expressions that we use for giving advice to somebody. Should and ought to. Should and ought to. Notice the pronunciation. Should, ought to. Okay, notice the following picture, and let's try to get the scenario for the conversation. Who are they? Think about these questions. Who are they? And where do you think they are? And what do you think they are doing? Okay, it's a conversation between two friends, and one friend, one person, the person in the left says, the class starts in 5 minutes. So they're going to take an English class. They're going to take a class online very, very soon. The suggestion or the advice from the lady on the left, she says, you should hurry up. You should hurry up. Deberías apresurarte. And then we have another expression. Notice here in the other one. You ought to be punctual. The class starts in 5 minutes. You ought to be punctual. You ought to be punctual. So both expressions, you should hurry up, deberías apresurarte, and the other one, you ought to be punctual, are two ways to express or to give advice to somebody. And these are the expressions to give advice. Should, as to do it, hacerlo. Shouldn't, no hacerlo, o no deberías hacerlo, no deberías hacer tal cosa. And ought to stays neutral, only in affirmative, and that's has de hacerlo, tienes que hacerlo, con un sentido de más obligación o más obligatoriedad. Okay, let's see in context to understand better these expressions. Let's ask for advice. ¿Cómo preguntamos o cómo pedimos sugerencias? Advice, recuerden que son consejos. ¿Cómo pedimos la sugerencia en este caso? What should we do to celebrate Mark's graduation? What should we do to celebrate Mark's graduation? That's the question. And what are the possibilities for this question? We're going to see in a moment, but important. Never, 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 never use ought when you ask questions. Nunca usamos el ought to cuando hacemos preguntas. Únicamente podemos pedir sugerencias con el auxiliar should. Nunca, por favor, nunca utilices ought to. What ought we do to celebrate Mark's graduation? It's even hard to say, okay? It's even hard to say it. So remember just to use it, just to use what should we do? What should we do? What should I do? What should she do? What should he do? What should they do? Etc. It's very easy to ask questions with should, with all the subjects, but not with ought to. Okay, so these are the possibilities for Mark's graduation. What should we do to celebrate Mark's graduation? Okay, we shouldn't have a surprise party. He doesn't like surprises. So here is the example of shouldn't for negative. You ought to take him to a nice restaurant. You ought to take him to a nice restaurant. Tienes que llevarlo a un buen restaurante. O has de llevarlo a un buen restaurante. So to give advice, we use should, shouldn't, in both affirmative, negative. But when it comes to ought to, only do it with the affirmative form. You ought to take him to a nice restaurant. Shouldn't, ought to is to give advice, obviously. Examples of questions with should and the responses. What should I do? What should I do? ¿Qué debería hacer? You should be quiet. Or you shouldn't shout loud. No deberías gritar mucho, muy fuerte. More examples. Should she buy a new guitar? Should she buy a new guitar? ¿Debería ella comprar una nueva guitarra? Yes, she should. Or no, she shouldn't. Esta forma de preguntar es la forma más sencilla porque son preguntas simplemente que se contestan con yes or no. Should I wear black or should I wear blue? Should she buy a new guitar or should she buy a new violin? Las respuestas correspondientes a ese tipo de preguntas, yes, no, simplemente se contestan yes or no. Yes, she should. No, she shouldn't. So we use should in affirmative and we use also should in questions. Statement, negative statement, affirmative, negative statements, and questions. So it's and the possibilities with should are more because we can use should for question, negative, and affirmative, but it's not the same with ought to. Notice here, and ought to is only limited to affirmative statements. You should practice this song. You ought to practice every day. Negative, only you should. You shouldn't practice this song every day. Question, what should I practice every day? WH information question or yes, no question. Should I practice this song every day? And in that way, we have here in this chart what summarizes or gives us like the whole bunch of possibilities. Tenemos todas las posibilidades que pudiéramos usar con ought to and should. Okay, let's match. One way we can do a good match is if we read the context. Okay, for example, number one, I can study home. I can study at home. It's very noisy. Es muy ruidoso. Hace mucho ruido. Hay mucho ruido. So what's the suggestion for this person? So you need to read. You need to read all of the possibilities of all of the options here. Sorry. You ought to send her some flowers. You shouldn't go to the music festival. You should look in your bag, or you ought to study in the library. Of course, the possibility or the best option, the best suggestion for this person is you ought to study in the library. So, before listening the answer, antes de escuchar la respuesta, pausa la grabación para que puedas practicar mentalmente y ver cuál sería tu respuesta a una de las opciones que tenemos del 1 al 4. Así que pausa por un momento y después puedes contrastar con las respuestas que te voy a indicar. I can find my keys anywhere. The correct option is you should look in your bag. Number 3, I don't enjoy going to concerts. So you shouldn't go to the music festival. Or I forgot to phone my grandmother on her birthday. You ought to send her some flowers. So notice, she ought return the books to the library today. Is that correct? No, that's not correct. Something is missing there. We will notice in the next slide. Your brother should to help you choose a guitar. That's even wrong. She ought to return, is the first option. She ought to return the books to the library. Your brother should help you choose a guitar. Those are the correct forms, not the previous ones. She ought return, le hace falta el ought to. En el caso de should, no lleva la forma infinitiva, no se dice should do, sino más bien simplemente should y el verbo que le sigue es en forma base. Así que analizamos el siguiente workout para concluir nuestra lección y puedes pausar la grabación en este momento y comparar las respuestas que a continuación voy a dar. Tenemos 3 parejas o 3 mancuernas de opciones. Solamente selecciona una, la correcta, letter A o letter P. Are you ready? Okay. Number 1. The correct answer is number 1, letter A. I'm very bored. What should I do? I'm very bored. What should I do? Number 2. You ought to ask your brother to help you. You ought to ask your brother to help you to choose a guitar. Number 3. Correct answer. They ought to buy the tickets for the concert as soon as possible. They ought to buy the tickets for the concert as soon as possible. Recuerda que ought to requiere infinitivo. Ought to infinitivo. El verbo que le sigue tiene que ser infinitivo. And if you got at least 2 correct, congratulations. If you got 3 correct, even more. Let's do the wrap up to wrap this class. The meaning of should and ought to is similar. What do you say? Is it true or is it false? It's true. It's very similar, but the difference in ought to is O2 is a strong advice, only in positive. No lo utilizamos en pregunta ni en negativo. What can you use should? Okay, you can use should to ask for advice. Is that true or false? You can use should to ask for advice. Puedes pedir sugerencias o recomendación con should. The answer is true. You can ask with should. You can ask for suggestions. You can ask for advice with should. All right, to end up our lesson today, I'm going to give you a reflection. Nuestra reflexión para terminar la lección número 10, en este caso, es la siguiente. Good things come to those who wait. Las cosas buenas llegan para aquellos que esperan. Have a good one. This was lesson 10, English with Mike. I hope you enjoyed this class. Bye for now.